Okay, welcome to Who Touched the Thermostat. Appreciate everybody that's bearing with me as I figure everything out with the new setup. But all right, now let's check and see if it's actually up and running now. Yeah, I was using StreamYard for all my lives and everything, but it it started they like doubled the cost and didn't really give anything extra value, so I had to find a different setup. So I'm trying out Streamlabs. It looks like there's a lot more options and a lot more things that I can do and add on to make the stream really cool. Trying to figure everything out. I mean, it has like a chat feature and everything, so I should be able to read everybody's chat live and do some of the things that StreamYard was doing, but just trying to figure out how everything is, how everything's functioning, and making sure that it's actually getting out. Because if it's not connected to everything, so that you guys can see it, it doesn't really serve much of a purpose. So, just trying to check. I don't know if it's going out to YouTube or not. Okay. Trying to see if the chat will come up, but it may not. Well, whatever. We'll just work through it and see as we go. But anyway, so obviously there's like a lot been going on this week. Obviously, a lot that's on everybody's minds. And remember, whenever I decided to do this one, I know that everybody is like bombarded with details and information and different things going on with the response to the hurricane and the effects that's had on western North Carolina and Tennessee, and I definitely want to touch on that. I'll kind of just run through some of the things that I'm thinking about, and then I'll try to get off of it because I know everybody's been bombarded with it, and try to give some light talk, a little bit of just dad talk, some things that have been on my mind or things that have come up in the last week. So overall, with the hurricane situation, obviously it's super devastating. I'm down here in Southwest Florida. The reason why I didn't have a live last week was because I was just kind of exhausted because we were anticipating, we weren't really sure what we were going to get from the outer bands. The storm was still pretty far off the coast, but the outer bands were reaching out pretty far, and the winds definitely were crazy high. We weren't really sure. 2 years ago, our town was one of the towns that was just smashed by Ian. Luckily, the house that we're in didn't sustain much damage besides some soffit missing and flooding and stuff wherever around the house, but not in the house. So we were very thankful 2 years ago, but we didn't know what what we deal with all the other storms, right? And weak points that may be in the house because it's already been hit once. So we just try to watch and pay attention to everything because you want to be prepared to make a decision. or have some time to make a decision. And so I was just exhausted because we were watching tornado warnings and stuff come in on Thursday night, and it was like back to back to back for a couple hours, and trying to look over the kids and just all that kind of stuff. So I skipped last Friday, and then of course looking around and seeing the stuff locally in Florida and the barrier islands up near St. Pete, Tampa, and I mean pretty much everything from Fort Myers Beach up to Clearwater was under at least a few feet of water, pretty much everywhere. So seeing all that, and then of course starting to see the floods and everything that hit, in the Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, all that. Seeing all that happen, it was crazy, and just trying to wrap my head around all of that. But with that being said, there's obviously all kinds of reports about FEMA and what they have or have not done, and their obstruction to civilians and private people trying to help. This shouldn't surprise anyone. I know that there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, it's misinformation, FEMA's on the ground, da da da. Okay, listen, if you're saying stuff like that, then you sound just like the people who denied that all the things in 2020 that people were saying was true. You're the same person saying, no, this is conspiracy theory or whatever. Okay? Now, not to say that everything that's coming out is legit. Okay? It doesn't matter what situation you're talking about. Not everything that you see is going to be 100% all the time. Okay? I understand that. But to defend FEMA and defend the federal government's response, defend everything, all of the people that should be quote unquote responsible have not been doing their part. And from the sound of it, from a lot of different people reporting, they're getting in the way, where people were doing just fine before they showed up, trying to get things taken care of, get people found, get people food, water. One of the biggest things is everybody is saying we need more helicopters, and they've spent more time telling people you can't fly drones, you can't fly helicopters, you can't do this and that. It's just silly to me that people are out there jumping to defend FEMA or any federal agency at this point, based on what we saw in the last 5 years. Okay, the way everything was handed to us, the lies they told us, that we were all misinformation and that we were lying and that we didn't know what we were talking about and we're just making stuff up or whatever. Just to every 6 months it was rolling through and they're like, okay, well that was true. Oh, okay, well that was true. Okay, so I don't want to see any more people defending FEMA, whatever. I'm not saying that all the people that work for FEMA or partner or whatever are horrible people or not doing good stuff or whatever. Okay, we're talking about the organization, we're talking about the system, and then they're talking about the fact that they have misappropriated funds to non-Americans. Okay, so let's for once, can we hold the federal government and their agencies 100% on the hook and drag them down a level and hold them responsible? Okay, I've seen all these different people come out and they're like we're doing stuff and whatever, and Pete Buttigieg and stuff, out there going back and forth with Elon's trying to get Starlinks and they're not able to land, and it's like, okay, I don't really care. I don't really care at this point. I'm done trusting any type of government entity. Okay, they're bureaucrats. They have tons of red tape. They get in everybody's way. They try to jail people that are doing the right thing. It's just bizarre that anybody at this point has any kind of defense for those people, for those groups, for those organizations. It makes no sense to me, and it drives me insane. So now with that, let's talk about some of the cool stuff. I always like to brag on my coffee guys because they're hilarious on X, and they're good people. And Stocking Mill Coffee Roasters are on top of their game. Every time there's any kind of issues, whether it's for something for them locally or whatever, they're always on top of raising money and getting things done and taking care of people that are either in need or could just benefit from having a good time. So they have one of the guys has been up in Asheville and the surrounding area working chainsaws pretty much all hours that have light. Been getting up and taking supplies to people, helping people clear paths to their house, cut down trees off roofs, all that kind of stuff. So kudos to them. It makes me really happy to be able to support brands that stand for something, that aren't just selling a product, right? I try to be that with my shirts. Obviously, I have a message, I have a purpose when I make my shirts, and I look forward to building a community of people that like my shirts, start conversations with my shirts, and I want to get to the point where it's beneficial for other people, right? So like I would love to be in that position to where I have the following and sales and all that stuff that would give me an opportunity to help people out in situations like this. And looking around, I mean, there's like Cletus from Freedom Factory and some NASCAR drivers and stuff for whatever that have gotten involved monetarily, helicopters, and doing all kinds of great stuff. So all those people out there that are flying helicopters, bring people food, and just ignoring all the noise to get their mission complete is awesome. And it's the American spirit. That is what America is really all about. We don't need a government. We just need each other. Okay, and I think that's on full front stage display right now. I think everybody can see it. I hope that it's seeping into everybody's heart and mind to be able to see, how much we can do together and how little we really need any type of government assistance. And it's funny because I keep seeing people jump on and try and be like, oh well, they're begging for FEMA now, and jumping on Republicans and stuff, and it's like, look, man, we could just get rid of it all, because really, whenever it comes down to it, all the stories I've heard from whether it's Katrina or when the Keys got hit real bad. I mean, there's all kinds of stories of people going in and they're confiscating food because it's not the right vendor, it's not the right people, and meanwhile, like, these people, they haven't even handed out a bottle of water to anybody yet. So, who thinks that that's a good idea? And honestly, living down here in Florida and seeing, seeing how everything, goes with FEMA and stuff, and listening to the people, because there's people still down here. It's 2 years later for me and guys, and there's people still down here, like my neighbors. Their house isn't even completely fixed yet. They got a new roof, but their whole setup, like their walls and stuff, is all still like ripped apart. They have certain parts of their house that are complete, but most of their house is incomplete. Sorry, I'm trying to double check and see if I can fix this chat and stuff, because I don't think that I can see if anybody's hopping on, and it's not even showing me viewers, so I'm just double checking and seeing if anybody's actually there, or if I'm talking into the void, which is fine because everybody can watch it later. But part of the purpose is I was hoping that I could stay live with you guys and be able to chit chat and see what you guys are talking about, thinking about. But yeah, so And then there's obviously conspiracy stuff. I think that there is a large group of people that believe that, based on the intensity of the storm coming in, because that was kind of the crazy thing is whenever we were getting the outer bands of the storm, we didn't see pretty much any rain. Like there was like no rain where I'm at. Okay, I'm not saying that there wasn't rain at other places and stuff. I'm saying right where I'm at, there wasn't any rain, which is kind of abnormal. Based on other storms, tropical storms and hurricanes that have blown through the area. Obviously Ian hit us. The eye came right over our town, and there's tons of water, and then it continued to go north, and the water flows down, and it caused crazy flooding down here. Okay, well I can at least see one comment. What's up, Scott? Void. Okay, I don't know. But anyways, so the this storm didn't have like any water. At least for us, we didn't see like any precipitation, and it was really weird because I could tell the winds were picking up early in the day, and then as it got closer to whenever it was supposed to storm and rain and stuff, it was like there's kind of some sprinkles and stuff, but it was just the wind was whipping up, and I could tell it was getting worse and worse. And then there was some rain after the tornado warning started, but for a very brief time, which is weird because previously in other storms and stuff, tropical storms that have come through and everything, it's just tons of water, tons of precipitation. So I know that there's a bunch of people out there that are saying that they believe that the storm may have been seeded at some point, which maybe it was. I don't know. Is it possible? Absolutely. Which if it really comes out, if there's any kind of like proof of that, that's a huge problem, right? Because that shows that there's some kind of intent. And obviously there's people that are talking about lithium deposits and quartz deposits, which I don't know for sure. I've also seen people talk about like there's gold in the mountains. I don't know. Okay. So I'm not really sure about all that, but is it possible? Sure. And it's really crazy to me because there's still people out there that the contrails and chemtrails and everybody talking about this and that and whatever, and everybody wants to jump on all kinds of different conspiracy theories and stuff or whatever and act like they're all dumb. But it's like after the severe flu years and stuff or whatever, it seems like it's kind of silly to not even at least entertain it and think about it. Is it possible? Are we run by evil people? A government that's full of evil people that would do evil things to be able to, to get to certain ends? Absolutely. And if you think that that's not correct, you're really crazy. You're the conspiracy theorist. And I'm sitting here and I'm seeing all kinds of stuff, and I'm seeing people like act like cloud seeding's not even happening anywhere, where it's been out there. People were talking about it. They talk about it all different types of places. They talk about it over in Colorado and stuff for some of the ski seasons and stuff or whatever, so they make sure they have snow on the mountains. So I don't understand why people don't know that it actually happens, that it's out there. But beyond that, there's also, I would love for everybody to go Google it and check it out for yourself, wherever. But like Project Cirrus, Project Storm Fury, are projects that were done by the U.S. military. First one was in the 47, and then Storm Fury I think was in 57 or 62. Can't remember the year off the top of my head, but you have that whole idea that they were going out and they were trying to change directions of hurricanes, and they were learning how they could manipulate them and make them stronger and everything else. So if they were doing that in 47, they're doing that in the 60s. Why couldn't they do it now? And they're definitely not doing it for our benefit, guys. Okay, it's not how our government works. These would be the same general people that were doing things and trying to do things like Operation Northwoods, which of course is why the CIA had JFK assassinated. I mean, there's all kinds of different things out there that are looking back, and it's like, okay, we can see that they're admitting that they did these things, and then be like, well, they don't have the technology anymore, and it's like, I don't know. You decide, you go and educate yourself and see what you think about it. But I think at this point, to deny that there could be a potential that the storm was seeded and made more powerful by evil people, I think that you're kind of crazy to at least not entertain it and say, like, this is possible. But there's a lot of people already being like, no, come on, quit being ridiculous. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from the people that are obviously dealing with death and destruction, okay? That's horrible beside the fact. But just like we dealt with the severe flu years, and we were trying to point fingers at where it came from and who was responsible, and everybody was like, oh, this isn't the time for that. But like, when is the time? When is the time to point fingers and call people out? When is the time? Is it now? Is it 10 years from now, whenever they leak it in redacted papers, or what? Like, I think that we should be talking about this. We should be talking about all of it. We should be doing our part to help, in any way we can, whatever that looks like. And sometimes that's just sharing information, and making sure that people, are aware of some of these things. Okay. So, I love you guys. So, yeah. So the Nephilim guided the hurricane. Also entirely possible. I definitely think that, I've been talking a lot lately with people that we're in spiritual warfare. Whether you like it or not, or whether you don't believe in God or whatever, I'm telling you, we're in the midst of at least a heated battle portion of spiritual warfare. And Billy Graham used to talk about spiritual warfare all the time. I just released a shirt, Ephesians 6:12, and it talks about the battles between good and evil. So I just released a shirt with that. And I mean, there's all throughout the Bible it talks about spiritual warfare, and there's definitely times where good and evil things are happening. I definitely believe that we have angels, we have good stuff, we have God on our side, but there's just as much as God is real, Satan's real, Great Babylon's real. Okay, so we're definitely up against evil people. We're definitely up against people that are anti-Christ. Okay, so all those things are on the table. Now, the good thing about that is that if you have your faith, then all these things kind of fall to the side, because at the end of the day, God wins. Okay, so that's the white pill. But entertaining the potential, craziness, entertaining the quote unquote conspiracy theories or truth theories, or however you want to look at it. I think you're silly if you are denying it and siding with FEMA. If you're denying it and siding with Pete Buttigieg. If you're denying it and siding with the FAA or whatever. I don't really care. What agency or what government bureaucrat or whatever is telling you to believe one way or another, that you're being lied to, or whatever that looks like. I think that's silly, based on everything else that we have seen in the last 5 years. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's all I really gotta say about that. Okay, I know that everybody's been seeing videos of people helping out, which is awesome. I think we should continue to share those, and I think that we should figure out who and how we can help. Like I said, you can help by just spreading the word and spreading information and letting people know what's going on. Spread good charities, good people that are actually on the ground. I wouldn't be sharing a whole bunch of different GoFundMes and stuff or wherever unless you know the people. Find good people that you know, even through 6 Degrees, that are putting boots on the ground, that have, video evidence and stuff or whatever. that are showing the work that they're doing. I think all those things are a good indicator. A good place to put your money. And I'd be wary of, giving them to any of the big charities, honestly, just because there's so many shenanigans that are being reported now that I don't, I don't really trust anybody. Anybody that's teaming up and stuff with the government or whatever, I think it's is wild. Now, there's some other issues and stuff where we're still down here in Florida. There's a lot of weird things that are coming down where FEMA's telling people to do certain things, and that's just not. They're not giving real information or full information or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're joking; it's a possibility, man. Like, we're living in weird times. Okay, so yeah. Anyways, leading into the first dad thought that is somewhat related to this is looking around. Obviously I have my kids have and hold, and I'm thankful for our safety, and I understand that there's a lot of people that are missing, lost, have verifiably lost family members, children, all those things. Absolutely horrible. I think about it every day, every morning since the storm hit, and I hug my kids for the first time in the morning. It's like a wave of emotion because I sit there and I think of all the people that can't. Okay, it hurts me to my core thinking about what those people have to go through and what they're reliving every day. With that being said, sorry guys, the the one thing that I'm continuously seeing with some of these guys that are talking about going up in the mountains and landing and dropping stuff off, and having a real conversation of what that looks like and what that looks like for the people that live there, and the real concept of like what it would look like to survive that. Christ is King, absolutely. So the thing that we need to think about now, okay? So if you're able to help, if you're out there or you have been out there, you've been doing trips and stuff, good for you. Keep doing it. Definitely reach out to me, let me know so I can share stuff if you have anything that I can share. But looking forward, like, I'm in a position where I wish that I could help more. And I've done some help here. I've done some donating and helping some families and stuff here locally with stuff here in Florida. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and today, talking about like how just trying to figure out a way that we could physically go help people in Western North Carolina. I don't think it's in the cards for me, unfortunately, but I am looking for more ways to support people, and that's that. But going forward, thinking beyond this disaster, we need to think, especially as dads, we need to think about what that really looks like. Not that all of us live in the mountains, right? But anywhere, like if your car's gone, if your house is gone and stuff, like, what does that look like? What are you doing? Are you able to carry your kids? How far can you carry your kids? Are you in shape? Are you out of shape? What can you do? What can't you do? What options do you have? Okay, so I'm not in bad shape, but I'm not in great shape. I carry my kids all the time, playing around and running around and stuff or whatever, and I'm about to add another one. So like I was thinking, I was like, man, I need to start rucking and make sure I can ruck at least, my kids' weight, right? And start doing weight drags and stuff wherever. Because seriously, if you get into any type of situation, even if it's not like a long-term situation like people were facing, 7 days of no electricity and water and all that kind of stuff or whatever, like we need to really start thinking about preparedness, whether that's buying food, buying ammo, having clean water, having food storage, getting in shape, and having plans for yourself, plans to help neighbors, plans to help people in different states. Okay, I think that it's really awesome that there's tons of people out there that have private helicopters and can lift off and take people places that you can't reach on foot. All of us really need to decide, how we're going to react to some of these situations. Yeah, training with your kids' weight is one thing that I literally was thinking today, because I was watching a video and the guy was saying, like, think about what you would have to carry. Like, if you had to carry your kids out of a fire, out of, out of flooding, a flood area like this, aftermath situation or whatever. Like, I want to be able to save everybody in my family, and I would love to be able. I think that training your kids' weights, so that that you can at least carry that, and then of course they have like 30 pounds, so you have some gear or whatever, your rifle, gun, stuff like that. Figure out what your weight is and train up to that, and get to the point to where you can rock and roll and feel comfortable hiking 10 miles. Okay, so like today, I was coming back from the town and a half over. Okay, and I was coming down the interstate. I was moving a little too quick to stop, but I saw a guy walking, a little bit older. We were just past the one exit, and the next exit was mine, but it's like 9 miles down. And I saw him walking, and I was like, well, that's not going to be good, because it's 90 degrees out. He's not walking great, but I got in touch with some people and wherever, and was able to get it all taken care of. But that also made me think, like, okay, we're walking 10 miles in between exits. Like, I don't think people realize, it doesn't seem that far wherever you're driving, but when you're walking, when you're running, like that's a couple hours, especially if you're not doing great or whatever. So, like, really should start training so that at the very least, like, you don't have to get all bulked up and cut up and everything or whatever, but like at least be able to save the things, take care of the things that you care about most. And for me, that's my family, that's my kids, that's my wife. So going forward, that's going to be one of my goals, that I could easily move that weight. Now, that's a big thing, and that is something that we should all think about as preparedness for all situations. So buy guns, buy ammo, store food. Obviously with the commies and stuff or whatever, they're trying to cripple us. Their words, not mine. Food storage, having all the things you need, medical supplies, basic necessities and stuff wherever, like, stock up. Buy a set amount that you can do each paycheck and buy it. I need to do better about it. We all should. We should all look into it and figure out what you can afford to add to your stockpile, and train for any situation you think you could see yourself in, and what it would take to protect what you hold most dear. Okay, and that could just be getting out of the house in a fire or something like that or whatever, but you really got to think about, like, what that entails movement wise, and really get into shape, get fit. And like I said, you don't have to get all cut up and everything or whatever, but definitely get to the point to where you can move your kids around, move your family around, and get to a safe place. At least get to a place where you can regroup and check on everybody, make sure everybody's safe, and then decide what you're doing from there. Other than that, I'll go to the chat and see. I got a little story that I'll share probably to close out. But let's see. Let's see if this works. I'm still trying to figure out this new program that I'm working with, because I switched off of StreamYard whenever they doubled my monthly fees. I was like, yep, nope, not doing that. Alright, so I guess I can't have it pop up here. I'll have to figure out how I can get the chat and stuff wherever to pop up on the live screen, but we'll get it taken care of. There's a lot of cool features in this, so I think that this is actually kind of a cool thing that happened. Now I'm using something that has a whole bunch more options, so I can make my stream look really cool. I just didn't have enough time because I just downloaded it today. So, but anyway, so how do we keep the regime and Chase from transing our kids? So that's funny. So I know that most of the people that are close to me know that I'm a libertarian or conservatarian or however, whatever. But anarcho-capitalist, really at the core of everything. But people don't always know exactly what that is. Now, with the Libertarian Party, it is very sad that the candidate that they have for run for president is a goober, to say it nicely. But yeah, like there's not even words I can really put out the way I feel. It's just such a confusing thing. It's there, the messaging and stuff, wherever that was coming out during the severe flu years with the Libertarian Party was very like DOA. There's just nothing really coming out, and it seems like it's just been a trend. I know that a lot of people have been fighting to change it, but now, you know, with their presidential ticket this time around, like it's going to get a fraction of a percent, and it's just not going to do well. But yeah, the ultimate thing is that people need to separate themselves from the regime. You have to understand that we don't belong to anybody but God. Okay, you own yourself. You have self-ownership and ownership over your family. And that's your unit. That's who you protect. And you don't owe anything to anybody. Okay, you don't owe anything to the government, and they most certainly do not care about you or your family's health, safety, what have you. So whenever it comes to transformer situations and them trying to confiscate your kids from you because you actually care about your kids and you don't just hand them over to strangers and crazy people, you know, I mean, ultimately, the same kind of way I look at the situation that's going on in North Carolina, like we were given the Second Amendment for a great purpose, and that was to maintain our self-ownership. Okay, really, where it comes down to is prevent the government from overstepping their bounds, and I think that everybody needs to really understand and take a long, hard look at the real purpose of the Second Amendment. It's not for hunting deer. It is 100% for securing yourself, okay, and protecting yourself from the government. That's the reason why they put it in there, okay. The guys didn't just come back from a hunting trip. They came back from fighting against empire, okay, that was hyper taxing them on everything and were trying to impose all kinds of craziness on them. So they wrote that. They wrote that amendment to protect everything that they stood for, and including, you know, their property, themselves, and anybody who says otherwise is either evil or completely stupid. Now, going back around to that, is that we need to understand that there's times that we have to defend ourselves and we have to defend our families, and there's going to be a lot of people that say like, oh, you got to sort it out in courts. But guess what? The cool thing about courts is that most of them are completely, completely handed over to the bureaucrats, completely handed over to the Marxists, and they've set their own precedents. And now, I mean, there's tons of cases where kids have been medically kidnapped, okay, for one reason or another. There's a child a couple towns over from here that was medically kidnapped by Johns Hopkins. There's a Netflix documentary about it. Her mom ended up taking her life because she couldn't handle it after they kept her baby away from her for a year. And they'll do it to you for whatever they want. Okay? You don't get to argue it. Okay? You can fight it in court, but guess what? Courts are expensive, and they've grown more and more expensive over time. Okay? The house that I had was a new build and had all kinds of problems, and the builder didn't want to do anything about it, and I was like, okay, well, we'll just take them to court. Well, guess what? That's like $80,000. Okay, and I couldn't necessarily sue for court costs either. Okay, so everybody wants to say like, oh, you just take it to court, see your day in court. Okay, at a certain point, it doesn't work. Okay, it didn't work well for the Branch Davidians in Waco. They honored a ceasefire after they were ambushed. Okay, and what did that do for them? Besides the fact that they were for over a month they were subjected to mental psychological warfare. So what good did it do them? I don't know. Just looking at the things, I mean, the Philadelphia move bombing. I mean, the city police were dropping incendiary bombs on apartment complex. Ruby Ridge killed a 14-year-old boy and his dog, and then later sniped the wife while she was holding their infant. And the guy that did that kept his job and was working on the Waco case. So they don't really care about you. And at a certain point, we have to just say enough is enough, and understand that we're gonna have to fight that. So ultimately, there's a lot of whatever ballot box ways that you could try to prevent the state from kidnapping your kids. But if they come knocking on your door, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait till the next election to vote? I don't know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do. I know what I'm going to do, and I think everybody else should weigh out all these things, because whenever you look at the situations with FEMA and the things that we've heard about them over the years from Uncle Alex, and things of that nature, there's some weird things that could be coming down the pike, and they've been known to do weird stuff and cover things up and come knocking on people's doors for weird reasons, doing weird things. And yeah, so I mean, you can vote, but I think that people need to realize that at a certain point, like, voting and taking people to court just is not enough. And I'm not calling anybody to violence or any of that stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at a certain point, the means that they prefer that we use just don't work. And I think that a lot of people are starting to see that, because whether you believe the election, whatever, all the stuff, right? Whatever you believe about it, things are weird. Things aren't right. Definitely odd things that have happened. And if you are voting, like, you probably are concerned that your vote doesn't get to its destination. So I just think everybody should think about that. I appreciate you asking the question in a funny way, but really, how do we keep the regime from doing anything to us? I mean, they have a monopoly on violence, and they've shown that they'll definitely use it. Whether it's no-knock raids or medical kidnap of kids. They have their methods, and they do it at gunpoint, So I don't know. Just think about what other things you may have to do other than vote, and keep that in mind, and really think about it. Really think about how you react in certain situations. I really wish that I could say that I trust the courts, but I don't. I don't at all. There's there's not any government. Uh, there's not any part of government that I really trust. There's not really anybody that I feel is worth it. Okay. Anyways, I could go on a rant for a long time about some of those things. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Just think that voting. Um, okay, so there's the different boxes. Okay, and we're dangerously close to cartridge box when it comes down to where everything's at. And some would say that we're already there. We just haven't fully grasped that. Maybe they're right. I don't know, but yeah. Now, much more lighter topic. It's not whatever politically charged or whatever. I'm trying. Had a bunch on my mind this week with all the loss and devastation, and sadness that we've been seeing on social media, the news, and everything else. And I been thinking a lot about my dad. My mom and my dad's birthdays this month, and every time that his birthday rolls around, or whatever, I always start having more memories and thoughts and stuff about him. And being a dad now, it always adds to it because it's like a different level. Because I start thinking about things from his perspective, and I think about all the good times and all the stuff that he taught me in the short amount of time that I had him. And then I think about the last couple weeks he was here on this earth with us, and I think about the day that he died quite a bit. But this week I've had some good memories and some things that I've thought about that made me thankful for some of the things that he taught me and the way that he taught me, and teaching my kid math and stuff or whatever. I remember my dad I would bring math sheets to him, and he would just erase them, and he would like, go do it again. Whenever I got him wrong, he wouldn't, he would just keep getting me to do it. And at the time I hated him for it, because it was like, Dad, just tell me which ones are wrong or whatever. But he just always, he always was thinking, trying to make me better. And then I remember whenever he had his liver transplant, and he looked at me and told me, like, if something went wrong, that I was going to be the man of the house and that kind of thing. Having that discussion, and of course at 13 I didn't really understand or grasp that at all. And now as a dad, I look at the whatever hope to never happen, but the possibility of ever having the conversation with my kids. And it's a rough one. I think about how my dad would have thought about, or what was on his mind at that moment. And with all the destruction and everything, and I started talking to some other friends that made me think about this, was one of the first concerts that I ever went to was Alabama. And I hope all y'all know Alabama, because they're awesome. I still love a lot of their music. And living down here in Florida, people race around all the time, and I always think of that song "Hurry." I'm in a hurry to get things done, and because I'm like, we live in paradise, guys. Like, it's beautiful out. Don't be rushing around. Take your time. But the one thing that I remember, there's a song that Alabama did that was called "Angels Among Us," and I can almost tell you exactly. Probably if I went into Freedom Hall today, I could probably tell you where we were sitting, and I wasn't even. I don't know. I guess I was like 5 years old, maybe 6. But I remember it very vividly, and I remember when they played "Angels Among Us," and lights are all low, and there's people, with actual lighters. People weren't vaping and stuff back then, or didn't have their cell phones out. They had their Bics and stuff held up high. And if you haven't heard the song "Angels Among Us," it's great. But especially if you listen to it and you think about everything that's going on, it'll definitely make you cry. So just be aware of that. But it's a great song. I can remember it, and I listened to it a couple times today. And yeah, I cried a little bit because it made me miss my dad, but it also kind of, I was thinking about all the people that are hurting up and down the coast and in Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, and thinking of all the pain and all those things and all the loss, and but also thinking about how good God is all the time, and that there are angels among us, and some of those angels are private helicopter pilots and volunteers, Cajun Navy, the guys over at Stock and Mill Coffee Company, whoever, all these people that are out there helping people and trying to get people some sense of, feeling like they're taken care of in this disaster. And so it brought a lot of emotions, but it was also a good memory of my dad, and thanking him for introducing me to all kinds of cool music, which is the best part about the Alabama story, is that I was with my cousin and my dad, and after the show, we're both younger kids. My cousin, three years older than me, and we want to go meet the band, and if you've ever stood in line, especially because like now they try to do like all the VIP, like paid for meet and greets like before the show and stuff wherever, but a lot of people remember the old shows, like you go meet the band afterwards and stuff. And so we went out there, and the line's super long to get in and see them, and people were going on to their tour bus and like getting autographs, taking pictures or whatever, and my cousin remembered it too, because we were talking about it a few years ago, reminiscing about my dad. But my dad used to do crazy stuff all the time, and this time was getting on that tour bus and not having to wait on that line. And I don't really remember exactly how it all happened, but I do remember him like just walking to the front of the line and like pretty much walking on the tour bus. I don't even know if he said anything to anybody, but we just got up there and we met the band, took pictures, and I remember they signed my shirt that I was wearing. I had an Alabama t-shirt on, and just funny, crazy stuff. And my dad would do things like that all the time. My dad didn't know any strangers. He'd talk to anybody, and honestly, he was a salesman by trade, so there's probably nowhere that he couldn't get himself into if he really wanted to. And so just all around, it's just a good memory, a little light memory that I was thinking about and I wanted to share, which leads me into the very last thing, sorry. I was doing alright up until right now. Not even really talking. I guess it's just my mind's already like in the place I'm going. So I just finished up my first full cover of the Bible the other day, and I remember reading through the book of Job while I was doing it, and thinking about some of the similarities that my dad had to Job, and some of the loss that my dad faced, and some of the pain that my dad must have had that he may not have ever talked about, and how he always held his faith very strong, close to him, and it was very important that his family was in church and had a relationship with Jesus Christ. And my dad had hepatitis C. He found out whenever I was right after I was born. And told me as I got older and knew about everything, and he was sick. That he remembered holding me as a baby and just looking at me and crying and thinking, he just got here, and I don't know if I'm gonna be here, or I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. And so with that, tying it into all the pain and all the tricks that were placed on Job, and the curses that were placed on him, and the fact that he still remained true, and no matter what happened, he didn't reject God. And I think that looking around at the world and all the evil that's in the world, and all the sadness and destruction, it's very easy for people to say, like, where's your God? Where's your God now? But people don't understand that we live in a fallen world. And one of the main jobs of the deceitful one is to appear as light and break down our faith and trust and relationship and reliance on God. And I say to everybody, don't let them. Push harder. Hold on to your faith. If you don't have faith, find it. Lean into it. And, I tell people all the time, like, God's good. All the time. All the time. God is good. We say it all the time in the house. You were here randomly, my kid will start it, and we'll go back and forth. Okay? And it's true. Even in the darkest times, even in the times that I thought that nothing else could go wrong, that I thought that everything was falling in financially, emotionally, relationships, whatever it is, lean into God and find out that you move and get moved and placed in all the correct places at the right time. And the more that you rely on faith and you push away on the darkness, on the evil, and push back on it, the better you're going to be. And find joy in everything you do. And even wherever it sucks, find something to focus on that's good. God gave us bright, sunny sky, gave us all the trees, the birds, whatever. Find something, focus on it, and think about how wonderful the simple things are. And pick your head up, dust yourself off, say a prayer, and keep it rocking and rolling, And all these people that are evil, they want you to give up. They want you to curse God. They want you to just turn away from everything that's good because things are going bad. And if you give into it, if you give into the darkness, if you give into the evil, it's going to spiral. You're going to go down with it. But if you stand up and you fight back, we can win this spiritual war, and we can make a better time for our kids. And you can talk about the end times and stuff. I know everybody loves to try to act like they know when Revelation's gonna come true, and whenever the rapture's come, whatever, all those things. Okay, nobody knows. Coming like a thief in the night. Okay, nobody knows the time. And regardless of whatever it is, it's our duty to be fishers of men, and to hold tight to our faith, and share with one another, and lift people up in the times of need. And one last thing, and then I'm going to cut it off and head out of here. And I think that it's also important that people that are believers have to understand that it could get worse. Your faith could be tested even more. So it's so important to build it up and be strong, and find ways to strengthen it, and read your Bible, go to church, whatever you need to do, figure it out, build it up, because it's going to be tested, and the stronger it is, the harder it is to break. There's parts. I was talking to a friend of mine about, and in the end times, okay, like it says that food will be scarce for everybody. It doesn't matter, and you should be joyful with whatever you have. So if you have a big nice steak, be joyful with it. If you have a slice of bread for today, be joyful with it. Be thankful for it. And we can prepare and try to do our best to be in the best position that we possibly can for ourselves and our family. But at the end of the day, just give thanks for everything that you do have. Give thanks for your kids that are running around and screaming, making a mess, spilling milk, whatever it is. Be thankful for that. I know it doesn't seem like it in the time, but whenever you look at it in the grand scheme of things and some of the horrible things that have happened, just be thankful. And I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, and it's been a nice time getting back in the seat after skipping a week. I'll be back on, so not the next Friday, but the following Friday. We'll keep doing every other Friday for now. So I hope to see you there. I hope to have you join up with me and jump in the comments and share it around so we can grow it a little bit. Also, you can always check out awesome merch and everything at whotouchedit.com. Got a lot of cool stuff that I just dropped over the last week. A lot of cool stuff in my faith-based section, and I got a couple others that are going to be dropping here soon. So keep an eye out. I didn't even think about it just with everything going on, but now with the Prime Day deals and stuff, wherever, I think I might look at doing free shipping for everybody, and maybe doing a discount on the store. I'll see. But keep your eyes out for that. If you are subscribed to the emails, you already get free shipping on the website. But keep an eye out for those, and we'll see what we can do about trying to set up a quick sale or wherever on there. But I'll see y'all the Friday after next. Thanks for joining, and y'all have a good night, and keep praying for those folks, and take care of yourselves, and prepare, and start learning to working out and to train to carry